y'all, Mama G here, the face behind Piercing Creations, and I love doing wood grain. And my husband, Aaron, as weird as he is, loves whiskey. I collect the nasty brown liquid. I don't like it at all, but he loves it. I love him, so I figured I would combine my love of wood grain, his love of whiskey, and make this awesome Maker's Mark tumbler, even with the red wax strip. I also included a little boo-boo that I made on a wood grain in the past and showed you how to rectify that. So let's get it. For this wood grain, I am using all Tim Holtz alcohol inks. I have a 25-ounce oddball from Craft Haven. And sorry, it's out of the frame. I just was trying to keep it on the bottom. I always do the bottom first. And all I do is I take this 1-inch chip brush, do a little sploogie of the alcohol ink, and just swipe, swipe, swipe. I like to go back and forth in both directions because it gives it more character and more of a grainy look. As I'm doing it, I'm just alternating colors, no particular order. As I go around, just do a little stripe of a color, swipe, 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 and I'm not worried about getting every single inch of the cup done. I'm just getting more of a base coat, and then I will go back in and fill in the gaps after I am done with the majority of the background. All of these inks look so different from each other, but once it's all together and all blended in and you add all the extra little accents to it and character, then it all looks the same. It all comes together as one grain. Sorry, I had to do it. So as you can see, now I'm going to go and do the white spots. So when I do the missing pieces, whichever way I brush the ink, it adds these little jaggy pieces like that. And I just love the way that looks. So if I brush towards the top of the cup, then the jaggy pieces will go that way. If I brush towards the bottom, then they'll go that way. So depending on where the empty space is and also what's going on around it, that's what determines which way I brush, which direction I brush with my chip brush. I just love the character it adds. And some of them, if you're in the middle of the cup and not all the way at the top or all the way at the bottom, when you go back and forth, you'll have the jaggy edges on both sides. See, look at that. Oh, I love this so much. These colors together are so pretty. Just making sure I get all of the empty spaces, and even if there's a spot where it just looks kind of boring, like not a lot's going on, then I could add another drop of the alcohol ink, smooshy it around, and it'll add an extra little pop to that area. Looking good. Perfect. See, there's a little drip on the bottom, but as soon as you re-wet it with the alcohol ink, that drip just blends right in. This is after one coat of epoxy, and this is the part that I found out the hard way. I'm adding a water slide onto it, and the last time I did a water slide on a wood grain tumbler, I did not epoxy it first, and it discolored the wood grain that was not under the water slide. So it made it funky. So that cup, I haven't even attempted to fix it yet, but I've learned my lesson. So now, one quick coat of epoxy on this wood grain. put the water slide in the water, and as soon as it starts to straighten out, then I just slap it on, and it's good to go. Squish all the water out with my silicone tool, make sure it's straight. I'm right-handed, so it's easier for me to just go to the right, so I flip it upside down to be able to go the direction that I need. The best way to dry the water slide and make sure all of the water is pushed out is by using a coffee filter. It doesn't leave any lint, and it dries it just enough without ripping it. I fold it a few times with just a little triangle, so it helps me smoosh it out, get all the water out, and make sure there's no wrinkles or bubbles. Just being very thorough and going over and making sure it's smooth and good to go. And at this point, always sign your artwork. So I'm getting the bottom ready. I'm going to get my green Posca marker, and I'm going to sign my name on the bottom. That way, that final coat of epoxy, it'll be in there, and I won't have to do another coat just for my signature. Just checking it. Now that the water slide is dry, I'm going to do the red wax drip. I am using She Thick from DIY Epoxy, and I mixed some red acrylic paint into some fast set. I wanted to use fast set so it thickened quicker, and I didn't have to use as much of the thickening agent. So I just put it in a little bit at a time and stirred and stirred and stirred to make sure it got to a good consistency before I slapped it on the cup. If you put too much of the thickening agent in, then it will get grainy and gross, and it'll kind of look like when you melt the chocolate too much, like in the microwave, and it's like chunky and grainy. So now I'm just using the popsicle stick to smear it on the edge because it's got a wider surface than my stainless steel stir stick. So I just dab it on there. I love this process. This is by far my favorite drip that I've done. So then once it's all on there, you just bang it on the table. My table's not very sturdy, so I took it off camera and hit it on my hand really hard. And then there were some spots that I wanted to fill in and make the drip a little bit more drippy. And I just added little blobbies to those areas at the top, and then I slammed it on my hand, and it intensified the drippage. I just kept going back and filling in the spots that I needed. Oh, and I only used 10 milliliters of Quick Set from Alumilite. And look at that, pretty. Back to the epoxy. I really love how that Maker's Mark tumbler turned out. Whiskey fan or not, it looks pretty cool. So now it's time for the first installment of
Small Business Shout Out Saturday.
Small Business Shout Out Saturday. Every Saturday, I'm going to pick a small business to shout out, give them props, tell you all of the good things. Of course, I will have reviewed their products. And my first small business that I'm going to shout out is Yaya's Hobby Shop. If you know me, then you know I love me some Yaya. Me and her, like this. We've had each other's backs from the very beginning of this tumbler journey. Not only is she an amazing tumbler maker, I got this from her. Thou shalt not try me, mood 24/7. Applicable for a wine mug. You already know. But look how beautiful it is. Those colors and that sparkle. It's just perfect. I absolutely love it. It's got her logo on the bottom. There was water inside. It's got her logo on the bottom. And I also have this can coolsie that I love. We did this on a live together on Instagram. We're all mad here. And I knew I had to have it. And this is perfect when I drink my beer, because I am a slow drinker, because, you know, mom life. I can't just chug them down because I'm always being pulled in a million different directions. This keeps it cold for so long. And I mean, it's, who doesn't love Alice in Wonderland? It's gorgeous. And look at the eyes, that hollow. Not only does she do cups, amazing cups, she also has stamps. Look at that. I knew I had to have a stamp as soon as she told me that they were doing stamps. This I use on all of my branding. For my packages that go out, I stamp the paper that it's wrapped in. I love this stamp so much. And as you can see, I got the rainbow ink pad from Amazon, of course, to go with it. And it just fits perfectly. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better stamp. It's great. I love it so much. The quality, I was able to pick the wood, the handle, all of that. If y'all need branding, check out my girl Yaya, because she will hook you up for real. And the best thing about Yaya to me is she has such a big heart. She is so sweet. She started this virtual mentorship community on Discord for tumbler makers, small business people, anybody. If you need the help, she's there. There's everybody, so many people there. We all help each other, and she does it all for free, just out of the kindness of her heart, because that's the kind of person that she is. She is so sweet. So please, I have the link in the description for Instagram, the virtual mentorship community, and her website. So make sure you check her out and stay tuned for next week's version of Small Business Shout Out Saturday. Let's get it.